Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny. The only cold cases we crack are beers on our birthday. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. That was cute. I liked that one.
Thank you. That is in honor of your birthday.
Thank you. I just acted like I was accepting a speech in front of a crowd.
Oh, you might as well be.
That's how I felt in my heart. But yeah, I don't even honestly know how old I am.
I just turned 33, so I think you're 32.
I'm turning 32 then, I guess. So, Trevin, do you have a dreadful dilemma this week?
I have so many. So I'm sitting here wondering to myself earlier today before we recorded, and I'm like, okay, am I going to go with the dreadful dilemma that's a funny thought? Am I going to go with the one that kind of has a deep meaning behind it? Am I going to give the one that really is just bothering me right now?
Damn, you really do have a list.
So I'm going through all of these, and then I poop my pants.
You're joking. Please tell me you're joking.
I'm not.
I'm so sorry. Oh, God.
So to Tarantino you a little bit, I'm going to give you the end of the story, and I'm going to go back to the beginning.
Sounds great.
So I have a wedding coming up, and weight loss has been a bit harder lately.
Okay.
So I had heard about this diet pill.
Oh, God.
Called Ollie. Have you ever heard of this? Or it's Ollie or Allie. It's Alli.
No.
So let me read you 3 quotes from Allie reviews.
Okay.
Quote number 1. Got this delivered on 3/1. On day 1, didn't feel anything as expected. But then day 2 was like, whoa. Not like, OMG, I'm 5 pounds lighter, whoa. Like olive oil coming out of your butt, whoa. Quote number 2. Don't be too surprised if you get orange stains in your underpants or have an accident that is embarrassing. This happened to me once in a grocery store. So embarrassing.
Oh my God.
And the 3rd review ends with this advice. You can only wear black pants or shorts now, and for as long as you take this.
Oh my God. I'm hiding in my shirt. I can't.
So I'm like, okay, let's give this a go.
Oh, so did you read the reviews before you tried it?
I did, but I thought it was kind of a smart diet move.
How so? Orange undie pants?
They say this happens if
oh my God.
you eat bad.
Oh, okay.
So I thought if you stick to eating right, this shouldn't happen.
Okay, which you're a very good eater.
Yes. So I thought, what better way to train a person not to cheat on their diet than to take a pill that says, if you cheat on your diet, you will shit your pants.
I mean, I would never cheat.
So I've been actually taking this for probably a month and a half now.
Oh my God. And no sharding whatsoever.
No. There are some times where you're like, maybe I shouldn't.
Okay.
But I haven't had any problems.
Okay.
And then today happened. And I don't know what it was, because they say that it takes 25% of the fat that you eat in that day, and it makes you like get rid of it.
Oh my God. I'm so scared.
So I went into the bathroom and it happened.
Oh my God. Oh, so you were in your bathroom though?
My work bathroom.
Oh my God. I thought you meant at home. Oh my God, Trevin, what did you do? Oh my God. No, this is not okay. I am panicking for you.
Well, I left. So I was actually home because I told you I was leaving work early for us to do this recording, but I left earlier than early.
Oh my God.
I got home and I showered myself and I'm a new man.
Oh my God. So what did you tell your boss?
Well, I had already said that I had an appointment to get to.
Oh, okay.
So I just said I had the time of it wrong.
Oh God. Okay.
But that just kind of shows me the places I'll go It's been a struggle for me for the longest time, and I'm always open-minded to try something new.
And you're not an easy button guy. Don't even. Wow. For those who don't know, that is my number one fear in life. And it did happen to me once in an airport, so I'm so sorry that it has happened to you. And at work, I mean, at least mine was around strangers, but yours, oh my God. How freaking embarrassing. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So no more pill, right?
Well,
Trevin!
if it starts working, I'll keep doing it. I don't even care.
Oh my God. Well, I also have a dreadful dilemma this week. This is something that I didn't know if it would ever happen. And honestly, I kind of was hoping that it never would, hence why it is dreadful. But it finally occurred, and I shushed someone who came to my front door.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, I know. Normally, that's not my vibe. I would not just be like a cranky little shusher at my front door, right?
Yeah, I would not have a shusher on my podcast.
No, absolutely not. But no, we have this company that comes out and we have really bad mosquitoes in our yard. And so they just bring out this little mosquito thing and they just have to refill 2 different things. We don't have to communicate. I don't have to pay this person. It's a very
It's free?
Well, I have to pay them, but it's all virtual and they just come and switch it and that should be that, right? So I didn't even know they were coming over. And this was a day that Winnie desperately needed a nap. And this dude decides to come to my front porch. And not only did he ring the loud-ass doorbell, knock a loud-ass knock, but then when I opened the door, he was loud as hell as well. And he was just like, hey, I'm here. And I was just like, shh. And oh my God, part of me was mortified that I did that. But the other part of me is like, you had it coming?
Yeah.
You can't just show up unannounced like this. Get out of my face. But I did feel kind of bad because immediately after I was like, my baby is napping. And he was just like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And I was like, oh shit. Amanda, what have you become?
I'm so sorry.
He's like, I'm just going to go replace this mosquito thing. I'm like, okay, thanks. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Didn't need to know that.
Don't show your face around here again.
But anywho, are we on to killer facts, Trevin?
We really are.
Hello?
We've traced the facts. They're coming from inside the house.
Killer facts.
So I am going to go first this week.
Birthday girl going first.
Ooh. Today, I'm going to talk to you about an electrifying man named Roy Cleveland Sullivan. Does that sound familiar at all, Trevin?
Not at all.
Okay, so he had the wild experience of being struck by lightning 7 times and surviving. This all occurred between the 40s and the 70s. He was a U.S. park ranger in Virginia, so he was outside a lot, which definitely ups the chances, but still.
That is so rare. And to survive each time.
I know. Also, a fact about this guy is that he waited to retire until after his 6th time of being struck.
Whoa.
I don't know. I feel like everyone is different, but if I just was like repeatedly getting struck by lightning, I would be a bit more of an indoor person.
I mean, think about each time. He's like, I think I'm going to, no. What's the chances it won't happen again? Goes out there a 4th time, comes back. Obviously, it won't happen again.
Right.
I'll go back out there. And then on the 6th time, he just says, enough is enough.
He's like, and then it still happened one more time. Poor guy. So some of the injuries that he has endured from being struck by lightning all these times, losing a big toenail, losing eyebrows, his left shoulder was seared, his hair was set on fire, his ankle was injured, and he had burns on his chest and his stomach.
Wow.
And another sad thing, other than all of that, because the physical toll already is terrible, he said that people would distance themselves from him because he seemed to attract danger, clearly.
Wow.
And so there were some quotes, people who have interviewed him. He was like, yeah, people have kind of pulled back from me, especially when a storm is coming. And I'm like, can you really blame him? I mean, I feel bad for him, but...
Just don't go outside anymore when it's storming.
I know. So I don't know if that's the person with the most lightning strikes, but I found his story and I thought it was really fascinating. I believe it was talked about, not his story, but another woman's story about being struck by lightning. But I think it might be a common thing that once you're struck, it's more likely you will be struck again.
I wonder. I know one person who was struck twice.
Oh, you do? Wow. Was it a grown-up?
He was probably my age.
Oh, my God. So was he okay?
He was kind of an odd guy in a small town, and they said the second one changed him. They said he used to not be so weird, and he was just kind of an odd guy.
God, yeah. I mean, how could you not change in some way?
Yeah, taking that twice. Ugh.
I know. And this guy took it 7 times.
When I went to audio school, they have like all these different classrooms that are basically just recording studios. And so you'd have to learn how to work different ones. So no matter what recording studio you go to, you can handle it. I think it was the Neve was the name of this console. But, you know, in hip hop videos, there's the people with the mixing board and everything.
Yeah.
So I believe it was the Neve. It has to where the faders, they have the same kind of technology in them as like your phone where it can sense touch from a body.
Uh-huh.
And so if you move it and you set them, they will stay. But if you were to take like a book and move it, it would recognize that it wasn't touched by a human. And then it would snap back to its old place. So you could never mess up your mix and get the volume wrong unless it was done by a human.
Okay.
So there was actually a kid that went through the school and he had been struck by lightning.
Oh my God.
And the board would not read his body's electricity to move it. So anytime he would touch one of these faders and move it up, the second he would let go, it would snap back to its old place.
Oh my God.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is proof. It does something, I feel like, permanently to the body. Like it messes up something.
And this was before smartphones were a thing. I don't know if that affected the way his fingers work on like smartphones either. I don't know.
Whoa, that would be very, very inconvenient.
Yes.
Oh my God. So do you have a killer fact for me, Trevin?
I do have a killer fact. So as I had stated in the beginning, this is your birthday episode. But it's also the last episode before Mother's Day.
Ah, yes. Honestly, I know I've complained about having my birthday and Mother's Day on the same day before, and that definitely sucks. But there is something really sweet just about having them close by. It just seems like a great time to love me, you know?
Oh, great time for you indeed. Usually graduations are on Mother's Day too. So there's going to be a time in your life where you're going to have your daughter's graduation,
oh my
birthday,
God.
and Mother's Day.
I might just be like, all right, everyone handle it. I'm out. Just kidding.
I'll be right there with you when we watch it happen. But let's not rush things.
Okay.
So I want to talk a little bit about how Mother's Day got started.
Ooh, okay.
Coming to you from history.com. The official Mother's Day holiday arose in the 1900s as a result of the efforts of Anna Jarvis, daughter of Anne Reeves Jarvis. Following her mother's 1905 death, Anna Jarvis conceived of Mother's Day as a way of honoring the sacrifices mothers made for their children. And everything else went on and nothing weird happened after that.
Said neither of us ever.
Right. So she just campaigned so hard for it. She said, we need to have a Mother's Day. We need to honor these women. She started holding little meetings at Methodist churches and stuff. And we're like, we're having a Mother's Day, all 6 of us. Like, she started small.
Love that.
She made friends with a guy named John Wanamaker, who was a Philadelphia department store owner. And so then he kind of started spreading the word a little bit to his other stores. She would be doing it in West Virginia, and then he would be doing it in Philadelphia, and then the word started to spread. So after the very first official Mother's Day that she had did, where it was like, oh, I found out people in my building did it and people in Philadelphia did it. So not a lot of people, but she still felt pretty good about it. She wanted to get it on the national calendar. She said that the American holidays were biased towards male achievements, and she started a massive letter writing campaign to newspapers and prominent politicians, urging that Mother's Day be a thing.
Preach!
In 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a measure officially establishing the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. But Anna had a little problem. as this holiday became a big deal, people started trying to make money off of it. And me and my girl Anna are not going to stand for that capitalist thing.
It's a capitalist revival.
She had actually became friends with like a big group of florists and flower people and was like, hey, I'm trying to start this Mother's Day thing. We should get flowers for our moms and do that. So that was another way she spread the word. But then after that, the florists were just like, Mother's Day specials, Mother's Day. Flowers, people were making cards, and there was a bunch of candles made for it. And she's just watching all these people get rich off of her thing. So then she started another campaign trying to end Mother's Day.
Wait a minute. I was on your side, Anna.
She resorted to an open campaign against Mother's Day profiteers, speaking out against confectioners, florists, and even charities.
Whoa.
She also launched countless lawsuits against groups that had used the name Mother's Day, eventually spending most of her personal wealth in legal fees. By the time of her death in 1948, Jarvis had disowned the holiday altogether and even actively lobbied the government to see it removed from the American calendar.
Wow. This is just... You could have gone down in history as the one, which, I mean, I guess you still did. But now you have this at the end of it? She should have just left it alone once it was there, and maybe she could have profited from it as well.
The American dream. Yes.
Did she have kids herself, I'm assuming?
No. She stayed unmarried and unchilded.
Okay. Because I was going to make a joke saying I'm sure she did, because she probably came up with Mother's Day being like, I need some damn TLC over here.
No, she just did it because she loved her mom.
Oh, see, that is kind of sweet. But then she had to go and do all that.
Yeah, she's like, damn it, I didn't mean to feed the system. End it. Take it back. I take it back.
Yeah, okay. I can understand how her fun thing did turn into a whole money-making thing, and that is very, very sad. But I also really like having a Mother's Day.
Right. Which now makes me wonder, did Father's Day come second?
That's what I was going to ask you. I don't know.
I feel like our listeners should know this.
Yeah, they need to know that.
The nation's first Father's Day was celebrated on June 19th, 1910 in the state of Washington. However, it was not until 1972, 58 years after President Woodrow Wilson made Mother's Day official, that the day honoring fathers became a nationwide holiday in the United States.
Whoa, I didn't realize it wasn't until the 70s.
Do you think there was some men out there that felt that it wasn't fair that they didn't have their own holiday?
100%.
It took them a lot longer to get mad about it than I thought they would.
They're like, hey now.
I want to see Daddy on the calendar.
That is really weird. Good to know.
I'm glad we figured that out for the listeners.
Yes, me too. I loved what you were saying at the beginning where she was like, women deserve to be represented and all this stuff. And then she was like, just kidding. And it's like, no, I get it. That was out of your control, though. You can still believe in what you believe in.
Right.
Right?
I guess some people just aren't made to be creators. You know, you got to know that your shit's going to get bastardized and changed up and things are going to happen. And if you're going to start an entire holiday that the entire nation is going to do, somebody's probably going to celebrate it in a way you don't like.
Yes. And everyone's going to try and get a little piece of that profit.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. That was fascinating.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about Mother's Day out there, everyone just go hug a mom or tell a mom that you care. You know, it goes a long way.
Yeah. Mama's working too.
Exactly. You know what else you could do? You could listen to these ads. We're back, and I am going first this week.
As you should.
Yeah. So, this is a story from the news, but let's just say I may have taken the most creative liberties I've ever taken. Okay.
So this is like my neighbor stories.
There is definitely truth here, obviously. And I'll explain it at the end. But I had some fun with this one, and I'm genuinely excited to tell it. So here we go. What are the things you would like to do before you die? It's an age-old question. that has inspired conversation, movies, and many, many country songs. But these answers don't have to remain only in our minds. You can write your biggest goals down on cold, hard paper. According to Urban Dictionary, a bucket list is a list of things you'd like to do before you die, like visiting the Grand Canyon, falling in love, or falling into the Grand Canyon. Making these lists can not only help organize and soothe your soul, but some people actually follow through with them. The story I'll be telling today is about one woman's bucket list and the petty things she'd do to achieve her final task. Annie was born and raised in Nijmegen, Zuid, Netherlands, and was described by her loved ones as goal-oriented, yet fun. She was 10 when she first heard about bucket lists at school and was immediately intrigued. After class, Annie rushed home and grabbed her journal. Taking her pen to the paper, she began frantically scratching down her biggest life goals. Her list included lavish tropical vacations, concerts she dreamed of attending, and eventually marrying her school crush, Fred.
You may now kiss the Fred.
Annie looked at her list, but wasn't satisfied. It was missing a little more danger. That is when she began to write her final bucket list task: get arrested. As Annie grew up, she slowly began checking off the items on her list. She crowd-surfed at concerts in her teens, sipped Mai Tais on the beach in her 20s, and even managed to snatch up her school crush, Fred, and marry him in her 30s.
I'm the luckiest woman alive!
Although she had achieved a large amount of her goals, there was one that she couldn't seem to check off.
Ugh, today is the day.
Annie spoke to herself in the mirror.
The day you will finally get arrested.
She grabbed her purse and was out the door. Annie started off her day by walking into her nearby gas station, where she was greeted warmly by the familiar clerk.
Hi, Annie. Getting into any trouble today?
He asked cheerfully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Annie responded as she picked out a pack of gum.
I'm actually going to start the day off right and steal this gum,
she stated flatly as she held up the pack and began walking towards the exit. But the clerk just chuckled.
Oh, Annie, with all the laughs you give me, the gum is on the house.
Annie sighed as she half-heartedly thanked the clerk and headed out. As she walked down the road, she noticed a police car parked on the shoulder.
Aha!
Annie said to herself. She popped in a piece of gum and ran towards the policeman.
Good morning, officer!
She yelled, causing the policeman to crack his car window.
It's the perfect day to jaywalk, isn't it?
Annie taunted as she slowly began to dangle her leg over the edge of the sidewalk.
Uh-oh.
But the officer just sat there, expressionless.
Well, here goes.
Annie warned as she began to cross the street without using a crosswalk. She turned back once she reached the halfway point. But the officer just started up his car and drove away, shaking his head.
What?
Annie screamed in confusion as she watched the vehicle disappear. If she wanted to get arrested, she was clearly going to have to kick things up a notch. She grabbed some spray paint and began to graffiti the wall of a gym when the owner came outside to take a look.
What in the hell are you doing?
The muscular man gruffed as he approached her. But as he turned to look at the wall, he froze and gazed.
You can totally call the police on me for vandalizing your gym,
Annie suggested. But the bodybuilder's muscles loosened as he turned towards her.
This is a masterpiece,
the Hulk Hogan lookalike gasped.
Ugh.
Annie rolled her eyes as she stormed away.
No more Mrs. Law-abiding citizen for me,
she shouted as she made her way towards the local senior center. Annie slowly opened the senior center's door and looked around the mundane building. It was eerily quiet, with just an echoing infomercial playing in the main room.
Honey Cayenne Preparation H, for the adventurous types.
All of the seniors looked flat out bored. There were a couple of women sewing, and a man reading a newspaper. But other than that, everyone else was nearly dozing off in their recliners. Annie couldn't believe what she was about to do as she took a deep breath in.
Hey everyone, look over here!
Annie shouted as she lifted up her t-shirt and bra, exposing her chest underneath.
Woo-wee!
One old man squealed as he stood up to get a better view.
Yeah, take it all in. And while you're at it, you can take me to jail for indecent exposure,
Annie announced as she made eye contact with a center employee.
Put your shirt back on and get out of here.
The employee lectured.
Aren't you going to turn me in?
Annie asked desperately.
Even though I don't agree with what you just did, you got Gerald to stand up again. I haven't seen him move like that in ages.
Annie pulled down her shirt in defeat as she walked home. It was useless. No matter what she did, getting arrested just wasn't in the cards for her. Over the years, Annie forgot about her bucket list and focused more on the present. Her life sped by, full of laughs and memories, and in no time, Annie was a 99-year-old woman. She often had her niece over for lunch, and one afternoon they began reminiscing of the past.
Is there anything still on your bucket list, Aunt Annie?
Her niece asked innocently.
Actually, yes.
Annie spoke calm and quietly as she stood up and grabbed a small book from her bookcase. She opened up what appeared to be an old journal and pointed to a list.
I've done a lot in my day, dearie, but somehow I was never arrested.
That's when Annie's niece came up with a plan. One that would make all of her criminal wishes come true. In February of 2017, a 99-year-old Dutch woman named Annie was arrested at her home in the Netherlands. However, no actual crimes had been committed by Annie. Instead, it was to complete one of her final bucket list dreams, to experience a police cell from within. Pictures of a beaming and triumphant Annie were taken, showing her laughing and holding up her cuffed hands within a jail cell. A police spokesperson was quoted, saying,
An officer decided to look into the possibility to grant her request. One thing led to another, and the result is a happy Annie, a ticked-off bucket list, and some very nice pictures.
So what will you put on your bucket list? And how will you achieve it? I think what we can take away from this story is that it's never too late to make a dream come true, even if that dream includes getting locked up.
Annie, you little devil.
So you've heard of this story?
I have heard of this story, and it was on my list a long time ago, and I think I might have actually lost one of my browsers and just didn't come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really have a solid story idea to make the whole thing. I like your angle of it a lot more than what I probably had.
Okay, awesome. And I wonder, too, if it was this exact story you had or if it was one very similar. Because I was almost done with this story, writing it, and I was looking up stuff, and there was actually a 102-year-old woman from St. Louis, Missouri, and she requested the exact same thing, that she wanted to be handcuffed and booked as a check off the list kind of gal. I almost was like, should I switch over to her because we're from Missouri? But honestly, I'm so glad I kept Annie because the pictures of her inside this jail cell are so damn innocent and like blissfully happy. I was like, nah, this is my girl. But I did see that apparently she is not the only one who has asked for that. So that's very weird.
Yeah, isn't that just a wild thing to be like, I haven't lived until I've been arrested?
I guess. And then I did also want to clarify, kind of like I was saying at the very beginning of the story, every single thing in my story, besides her name and the location, all of her backstory, completely fabricated, okay? I am not saying my little Annie flashed some seniors, okay? Or vandalized or anything. I just thought, how funny is it that she waited until she was 99 in order to finally do this? And I'm like, she must have at least tried to get arrested, right? So I was like, I'm going to have some fun. Now, the summary that I gave when I start with the date and the ending and the quote and everything, that is all 100% true. But really, that's all news articles were saying. I didn't get a single sliver of any backstory at all.
I love that.
Yeah.
For us in the business, us two people who do this, there's certain ones where we have nothing to work off. There's ones where we can pretty much give the whole story. We're pretty much good. I have to be in the right mood to take on a story where it's not much, and then I'm filling in about 80% to put it together. So ambitious move. I like it.
Thank you.
And that's probably why I never actually did it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, too much.
I know. It's not really like me to do these. I really don't. I try to get ones with as much meat and potatoes as I can find, which isn't a lot. But yeah, I don't know. Something came over me and I was like, creative writing. Here we go. Obviously, we do that every week. But I was like, okay, I'm going to make up a bunch of fun things of how she tried to get arrested.
I really thought your story was going to go that she kept trying to get arrested until she just went home moping and was like, oh man, I guess I'll never get arrested. And then her friends have a sidebar and say, we need to help her out. And then they just get her arrested.
Oh, dude. The part about her niece is 100% true. It was her niece. And 1 or 2 articles did say that the niece had recently went to the police station to report a crime, like a real crime. And that's when she was like, wonder if I could just go in there and ask them if they would arrest my, great aunt is that? Or her aunt or whatever. So I thought that was really funny. But yeah, it was her niece that set it all up.
That would be really funny too, to just do that to an old person in your life. Just be like, oh, that was their bucket list. And then just go inconvenience them and like, what the hell? I'm trying to watch TV over here.
You're just there and you're like, this is part of it. They want to act like they did nothing wrong.
What a petty hater thing to do.
Please don't do that.
Well, that was a very fun story, and I'm glad you went first.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any obvious connections, so keep an ear out, and I'll just say that this is my birthday story to you.
Oh, love it.
And here we go. Here we are again. It seems like just last week, I was writing about our 100th episode and my birthday. Now we've got another birthday on our hands. Amanda and I's days of birth aren't even that close together, but podcast time moves so very quickly for us. Either way, let's get out of the past and focus on the now. It's Amanda's birthday. Time to rent out a bounce house, buy an overly tart off-brand lemonade, and invite the neighborhood kids over to celebrate. More people need to give this woman attention. But birthdays can be a stressful time all on their own. Whether you're a parent planning a party for your kid, or just going out to celebrate yourself, there is a certain expectation that comes along with it. Think about it. You may be a person who goes out on a semi-regular basis, so when you go out for a birthday, there is a bit more of an agenda for things to be memorable.
If this isn't the best night of my life, we're done.
Nothing makes planning an event more difficult than the goal of making it memorable. There is already so much to think through logistically, but adding the pressure of making it noteworthy can really ruin the experience for the person planning things. In most instances, the memories that we think the most fondly of weren't a well-curated master plan by someone else. Sometimes it's just how a moment unfolds, and whether or not we are in a good enough place mentally to really experience all that it has to offer. Because of this, memories with this much impact can pop up at any moment in our lives. Every day, every moment, every plan you ever make is a fusion of different factors that could add up to being an impression that sticks with you forever. It truly is a gamble. Will I go out, be living in my head the whole time, wishing I could go home? Or will I somehow hit the magic number of vodka Red Bulls and find myself tearing up the dance floor at a local gay bar?
Let's go, girls.
A lot of times, Even setting the intention won't make it happen. Sometimes the vibes are just off. The 4th of July, where I tried to sneak into the dive bar with a blue mustache drawn on my face, wasn't something we planned. It just kind of happened, and because of that, it is one of my favorite memories. For one of the birthdays in my 20s, my friend Kayla insisted that we go out and celebrate.
You gotta party, bitch.
I didn't want to be in public, but I did it. It was a frigid February evening in Kansas City, and we went out to Westport. As soon as we got there, Kayla just kept asking, "Where do you want to go?" Or, "What do you want to do?" I have a fun little mental illness where I don't like to lead the charge on social events, because I will blame myself entirely if someone doesn't have a good time. So every time Kayla would ask me, I would just say, "Oh, I don't know," or, "I don't care, whatever you want to do." Eventually, I would just pick a place so there would be less pressure on me. I ended up pointing at an Irish bar that was extremely packed. We waited in line, got in, shoved our way through a tightly packed room, and eventually found a little corner where we could breathe. I had not realized until we were already inside that they had a live band. So the 4 of us stood in a corner, unable to speak without yelling,
What?
and froze until one of us eventually spoke up and suggested we leave. Honestly, the only thing that made this memorable for me was how uncomfortable I was being in charge of 3 other people's nights. I'm more of a utility player when part of a party crew. Do not make me lead. The expectations for that night were very high, and maybe that is one factor that made it even harder for me to lead. Either way, despite Kayla's best intentions, the night was a bit of a bust. That's the risk you run when trying to plan a memorable night. But sometimes the tension felt by everyone to make something happen can be the very thing that makes a night unforgettable. Today's story is set around another momentous event in someone's life, an event so notable that it will forever be etched in their memory and on their criminal record. Kira was a 23-year-old woman living in Memphis, Tennessee. Spending her whole adult life in the home of blues and birthplace of rock and roll, she knew one thing very well: how to party. From Beale Street to Graceland, Kira had left her mark on her fair city. Many different nights, many different locations, and around so many different kinds of music. Although partying was second nature to Kira, a challenge had arisen that she did not see coming: her birthday. Kira was already a seasoned professional in the world of lavish celebration. How does someone who's done it all have a memorable evening in their honor? This was the issue that had been plaguing Kira. On the weekend of her birthday, she went to Graceland and competed in an Elvis lookalike contest while singing karaoke to her favorite Elvis hits. She didn't win, but she was a crowd favorite. For any mere mortal in the world of social events, this would have been one for the books, an event that someone would look back fondly on and say, "That was one of the best days of my life." But for Kira, it was about as mundane as clocking off after a shift at work. Sure, it felt good, but it wasn't anything special. The whole time she was on the stage, grinding on the mic stand to blue suede shoes, the little voice in her head kept whispering to her, "This ain't shit." She was getting attention, but that's nothing new to her. The next morning, she woke up and didn't have much to really reflect on. It was a celebration. It happened. But she didn't care. Every breath she took ended in a sigh, as she tried her best not to get hung up on how unmemorable her birthday was. Kira was not about to settle on that as her birthday night. She couldn't accept an ordinary celebration when she could easily have a better time on a random Thursday happy hour. It was during that morning that she decided to give herself a birthday redo. The following weekend, Kira got off work, did her makeup real nice, put on a shiny dress, and hit the town again. This time, her and her friends hit up B.B. King's Blues Bar. They had shot after shot while twerking to the smooth blues hits of B.B. King. "I'm turning up for my birthday!" she shouted as the live musician played a blues guitar solo in her honor. Everyone clapped as the entire club sang happy birthday to her. The next morning, Kira sat up in bed, had a little stretch, and exhaled. Fuck, she said to herself. That birthday sucked too. With yet another birthday failure on her hands, Kira decided to break glass. It was time for an emergency birthday month. For the rest of the month, Kira tried anything and everything just to feel that birthday spirit. She had her family over for a quiet meal. She went to an axe throwing place and even crashed a child's birthday party at Burger King. At this point, she felt like she was flailing. For almost 30 straight days, she had thrown out every birthday experience she could think of, just hoping one would stick. But alas, they all blew major dicks. Kira sat in her living room, surrounded by all of her friends. They looked like they were being held together by duct tape. Each and every birthday celebration attempt she made, they were there to make sure it was a success. But with every disappointment that Kira felt, they crumbled more and more inside. As upset as Kira was, she began to feel a little guilty. She was trying so desperately to reach an unforgettable birthday moment, but at what cost? Her boyfriend was falling asleep at all hours of the day, and her best friend walked with a limp after rubbing her heels raw during a 6-hour dance-off. Hell, even Party Marty resorted to drinking water at the bar, because he had simply reached his limit.
Being hydrated is cool.
Paid for by Big Water. Looking over her posse of wounded celebration soldiers, Kira finally made a decision. Okay, everyone, she announced to the room. No matter what, after tonight, I will officially end my birthday month. The crew stood up and cheered, knowing that solace was on the horizon.
Okie dokie, gang.
As the crowd's cheers began to die down, a faint voice rose above. Yeah, but what's your plan for your last hurrah? Asked Party Marty. Kira brought her index finger and thumb to her chin as she thought long and hard on her decision. Let's just get drunk, do some drugs, and see where the night takes us. The group of friends nodded to themselves as they grabbed their evening jackets and went out the door. This evening was the gauntlet for any party-going experience. Fancy cocktails at an expensive gin restaurant, dancing at a disco club, smoking weed out of an apple in a dark alley, and even playing Edward 40 Hands at some rando's backyard party. With each stop they made, Kira would confidently yell, "I'm turning up for my birthday!" leading to more free drinks and offers of drugs from kind new friends. Finally, Kira began to feel enjoyment. She looked around the room and saw her boyfriend talking about Star Wars with the owner of the house.
A fun party this is.
Her best friend was running the table at beer pong. And even Party Marty found it in himself to do a small bump of coke in honor of yet another birthday for Kira. Maybe it's not about what you do, but how you do it that makes an experience memorable, Kira said to herself as she jumped back into the backyard mosh pit. In the early morning, after the party ended, Kira and her boyfriend got in his Elantra and made the drive through the city to go home. Woo! I'm so fucking hyped! Kira screamed within the small confines of the vehicle. I'm glad you had a great time, baby, but please try not to yell so much in the car, her boyfriend asked. I'm sorry, Kira said. I've just had such a great time. I feel so good I could... Kira immediately interrupted herself by reaching into her bag of weed and lighting a big fat doob. Ah, that hit the spot, she said, slowly moving her head, allowing her high ass to enjoy the music. She brought her arms under her dress straps before pulling her dress down to her waist. Kira's boyfriend was in shock, looking over to see her now exposed breasts. Before he could even say anything, Kira rolled down the window and shouted, "Hello world! Check out these nipples! Woohoo!" Still frozen in the moment, the boyfriend stayed quiet until Kira turned back to him and asked a very important question. Where's your gun? Kira asked, very excitedly. Listen, baby, this probably isn't a good idea. I think I'm going to have to draw the line, her boyfriend said. Kira immediately threw her body back into the seat, crossed her arms over her chest, and began to pout. It's my birthday. I just wanted to shoot a gun on my birthday. With not much time wasted, Kira's boyfriend gave in. Fine, he said. It's in the glove box. Just be careful. Kira dropped the act and got into the glove box. With the pistol pointed out the window, Kira shouted again, It's my birthday, bitches! Before firing 2 shots in the direction of a vacant sidewalk. Immediately after the second shot fired, red and blue lights appeared behind the white car. Why did you do that? The boyfriend yelled before pulling over. The cop car parked behind their vehicle and waited for an eerily long amount of time. During this long stretch, Kira and her boyfriend were freaking out. The weed, he yelled. I can throw it far enough that the cop won't see it, Kira said. Then she cracked her window and dropped the baggie outside right next to the door. Why the fuck did you do that? You said you were going to throw it far, the boyfriend screamed, as the two looked back to see another police car join the one behind them. On September 19th, 2022, 23-year-old Kira Welch was arrested for shooting a gun out of a moving vehicle while half naked. According to the affidavit, the gun was discharged on the main roadway through downtown that is well populated with businesses and residential housing. Luckily, no one was around where the shots were fired. Once backup arrived, the officer approached the vehicle where they saw a half-naked Kira visibly intoxicated and laughing with a Glock 17 on the floorboard at her feet. Officers also found a bag containing marijuana on the ground next to the passenger door. When asked about the events that transpired, Welch stated that the weed was hers and she was just turning up for her birthday. It was quickly recognized that her birthday was August 24th, nearly 1 month before the events that happened that day. Welch was charged with possession of a handgun while intoxicated, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, and possession of marijuana. She made bail on a $7,500 bond that same day. So do any of you celebrate like this? If so, maybe consider not doing that anymore. Trying to make a moment in your life truly memorable can be a very stressful undertaking. Sometimes if you put too much stock into that occasion, it can lead you to doing very desperate things to stand out. In the case of Kira Welch, she achieved a memorable birthday that she will never forget, but it came at the cost of losing a clean arrest record and having her face plastered all over news sites. According to Kira herself, even she questioned some of the online articles, as she shared one on her TikTok entitled, Birthday Girl Goes Out with a Bang, with her own caption that says, They did me dirty, followed by laughing emojis. For Kira, it seems that she isn't too upset by the whole ordeal. Although I believe she pulled a very potentially dangerous stunt that I do not condone, I don't think she really learned her lesson. Or maybe achieving the most memorable birthday was worth that price in the end. To quote one of her friends that commented on her TikTok, Fuck a mugshot, you got a news article. That's lit.
What a quote. I was all for it, right? I was all for it until the gun got involved. Oh my God.
So in the story, all I know is what happened when they got arrested.
Yeah.
I don't know why her birthday was 1 month before, but it felt like the perfect back for a birthday month story.
You delivered that beautifully. I love that whole part of the story because you know there are those people that are like, it's my whole birthday month and we're going to do brunch and we're going to do lunch and we're going to do dinner, we're going to do brinner and we're going to...
Second breakfast.
Yeah. But man, I was thinking, okay, she's living it up, flashing a few people on the streets, you know, it could be worse. And then when shots fired, I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, I don't know what, like, is she just kind of careless in doing that? Or was she so drunk she didn't know what she was doing? Because either way is bad, but
yeah, it
just kind of makes you wonder, why would that be like your idea of fun? Oh, let's go run down a residential and just shoot some guns.
It wouldn't be for me, personally. No. Now, the rest of it, sure.
Yeah, I thought I gave a lot of cool, fun examples of what she could be doing.
Yeah. I remember there was one time, and this was obviously before kids, that I would stand up out of the sunroof all the time. You may have been with me a time or two when I did.
Maybe once or twice.
Yeah. I still don't condone it and don't shoot a gun, but I get that little aspect of being like, woohoo, out the sunroof, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But come on, there is a limit that we should never cross.
Yeah, if you're one of those people that likes to shoot guns, at least go to the country or
Far,
a
far
firing
away.
range or something.
Yes, not at a sidewalk.
Yeah, not while in a moving vehicle down a city.
Oh my God. And that was fairly recent too.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, because you said 2022?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, I did stumble upon a few connections with our stories.
Okay.
So both of us had to do with flashing. Yes, yours was true and mine wasn't, but that happened in both. But the main connection that I am gathering from these two separate women and their stories is that they just wanted to have their last hurrah. Mine was more of a last hurrah at the end of life. Hers was more at the end of her birthday month. But they were both just trying to let it all out, right?
Yeah, they were trying to make memories and do memorable big things.
Yeah.
And mine was true that she was half naked, but they didn't specify how.
Oh.
So I
She
really
could have
don't
been
know.
pantsless then.
She could have been pantsless. So mine technically wasn't true either.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it could have been, but
Mine could have been too. I don't know Annie's backstory. She could have done that. Gone into the senior center and flashed them all.
I just had to write away the half naked part.
Yeah.
Why else would she be, you know?
But yeah, like last hurrahs, making memories. But come on, guys. There's a line. There is a line.
And they crossed them.
So for everyone out there listening this week, I hope you are just having the best time. And just remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to make some memories with your favorite criminals.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for joining me during my birthday week. And don't forget, tell your mom you love them.
And use any social media account that you have, whether it be Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter, and make a post about how much you love your mama. Follow us, and then say another thing nice about your mom.
And do you have a crazy bucket list item? Send us yours to livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And rate us the same thing Annie would rate her first arrest experience. 5 stars. Anywhere you can rate podcasts. But alas, they all blew major dicks. I saw that up ahead. I was like, oh, I forgot I did this. I like that.